Hey everyone and welcome back. It's Gina from orchidandopal.com and today we'll be looking at the double 2-hole beads of the month club and the single hot and trendy beads of the month club. These are just two of the clubs they have to offer. They've got several other types like seed beads, Miyuki delicas, fire polish, and gemstone beads. And you can even rotate through all of those and get a different one every month, which is what my 2-hole beads of the month club down here is a part of. That's why that is in the double size. And you're more than welcome to sign up for more than one club at a time if you'd like to. And in addition to the beads, they do have a findings companion pack. We'll be taking a look at that as well. You can add that on to any existing bead club subscription for an additional $12.95 per month, and that won't increase the shipping cost. So all the details can be found on their website. I definitely encourage you to check that out to get more specifics about the different clubs and what they offer. And you can also use the coupon code OPAL10, OPAL10, to save 10% off the first month of your first club if you'd like to try them out. Let's get started today by looking at the Findings Companion Pack, and then we'll get into the beads. Something I really enjoy about their findings, not only are they high quality, but they also switch up the color of the finish, so you're not always getting the same thing every single time. Looks like the assortment I received this time is in the bright copper, and they always find some really unique things to send and some interesting twists on basics. The first item on the list, it's really tiny, but it's a bail with a leaf detail. You can see that little tiny leaf, and it's the ice pick style bail that you squeeze together. You can use that especially with some of their gemstone bead clubs that have some of the different drop beads and pendants. I definitely don't have anything like this in this color. And everything we receive in the Findings Companion Packs coordinate with each other, so you get a number of things that you can use in conjunction with the other items in the pack. So here's a great example of something that's a basic, but they've sourced something for us with an extra level of detail. Instead of getting some really simple head pins, these are the 2-inch head pins with a flower bead cap in the 20 gauge size. So not only do they have the little ball detail at the bottom, but they also have that floral shaped bead cap already in place. And now we're looking at the set of 2 bead cones in the 21 by 7 millimeter size. These can be used for a number of things, but mainly you see them used in multi-strand necklaces, gathering up the strands at the end. You could also use these to finish off some kumihimo or a bead woven type of seed bead rope. And I've also seen this type of component used in earrings with some type of beaded fringe hanging down, some chain, or some sort of a floral bead and leaf motif like, say, bellflowers. Another twist on a basic staple, we have 2 of the lobster clasps with the swivel. You can see that area there that actually pivots and turns, making these lay perfectly no matter the orientation of what they're attached to. All right, I'm really excited about this next item. These are the silicone-lined bead keepers. We have a set of 2. And if you're not aware, you can use these as a way to keep beads in place. If you're using them on cord or chain, that silicone stops the beads from moving around, but they're still easy to place in a different location if you wanted to. And I think these with the loop would act as a really great bail, because you know how sometimes when you're wearing a necklace, the pendant can slide all over the place and end up hanging sideways or something. Using something like this would keep that right in the middle or wherever you want to place it, which is a pretty cool concept. They've also provided 2 pair of the 14 millimeter lever back style earrings. Another twist on a beading staple with these oval jump rings, also in a very sturdy 16 gauge size in a 7 by 6 millimeter, with 20 pieces of those in the companion kit. And then last, it lists 1, but I have 2 of the branch links with loops. You can see 1 loop is oriented up there, but there's also 3 other loops. These 2 spots have a loop dropping down, and there's another loop down there, so you have lots of options for how you might want to use these. So I highly recommend adding on a Findings companion pack to your bead subscription, especially if you're looking to add some higher quality and unique pieces to your stash without having to search them out and shop for them on your own. And now we're going to get into the Hot and Trendy Beads of the Month Club. This is in the single size, and of course, like all their bead clubs, you can get it in a single or a double size depending on how much you want to have on hand to work with and how much you want to spend. And this is one of those clubs I get every month because I really enjoy the adventurous styles of beads that they send in all different, mainly check glass shapes, which could be single hole, they could be multi-hole, but it's always a fun surprise to see what's included. And one I recommend if you enjoy check glass beads and you're also adventurous and open-minded when it comes to working with multi-hole bead shapes, and especially if you enjoy bead weaving. So this month I received the theme called Blooming Orchids, which you know I will most likely enjoy. We can do a little flip over. Gorgeous, seeing some purples and some green and a little bit of that copper, which actually goes well with the findings that came this month. And I do want to mention that if you also are a subscriber of this particular club or the Findings Companion Pack, the colors and the themes that you receive may be a little bit different or on a different rotation than the ones I share. And that just depends on what you've already received, what their stock levels are, and some other factors like that. So just think of these as examples of what you could see pop up in your clubs. But on the front, we have the list of everything that is included. We're about to take a look at. You're going to get 8 different varieties every single time in 8 reusable flip top containers. And if you subscribe to the double size of this one, for example, you would get the same 8 containers of beads, but you'd get twice the quantities inside. So at this point, let's go ahead and take a closer look at each of these items one at a time. First on the list are the metallic matte purple Delos Parpuca beads with 6.5 grams. And this is one of those adventurous shapes I was talking about with the 3 holes. And this has the most beautiful satiny lavender color coated all over the surface. And you can see how the 3 holes are spaced pretty evenly, one going up through the pointed section in the middle and then the other 2 going up either side. In container 2, we have the Frost Anise Capri Gold Arcos Parpucas, 6.5 grams. These arc-shaped beads also have 3 holes, and they can go really well with the Delos Parpucas. That curved shape can fit in the curved side of the Delos, or also sit right on top where that pointed section is. And these combine the really bright copper metallic finish that shows up on one side, the other being a cream with a slight green undertone. Container number 3 is holding 7 grams of the chalk teal luster geckos. These are a small one-hole drop shape with a slightly pointed bottom, and this brings in a little bit of green to our palette, which I think is perfect and beautiful with the light purple and the copper accents. Another very sweet addition are the painted purple mini flowers in the 7mm size with 25 pieces in this container. Pretty little light purple opaque flowers with the hole going through the side of the bead, and a darker purple wash that helps to bring out the details in the 5-petal shape. And to go along with the flowers, of course, we have some leaves in crystal teal luster with 15 pieces of these in the container. With these, they're transparent, letting a lot of the light through. They also have a bit of a curve to the shape. The pressed veining detail and that luster adds a hint of silver shine on top of that light green color and already glossy finish. This variety has the hole going through the top at the side of the bead. Bringing in some more of that metallic copper, our sixth container is holding 1.7 grams, or about 125 pieces of the crystal copper plated True 2 beads. These have a brilliantly metallic reflective coating all around the surface, with those facets cut in there making them look extra shimmery, and the perfect 2 millimeter size. It's very consistent and excellent to incorporate in bead weaving. Container number 7 is holding 7 grams of the crystal copper matte prong beads. These are another adventurous shape, but they only have one hole. They always remind me of little dog claws with that prong shape curving a little bit and coming to a blunt tip. And these bring in some more of the copper also, but more in a toned down and satiny coating. And last but not least, in our 8th container, we have the crystal etched Lila Vega luster dagger beads, 25 pieces of these included. And they're in this really muted shade of purple with that etching giving the surface some extra texture. And I really like how all of them are a little bit different, some having a lot of additional coating on the surface making them less see-through, and then some having more transparency and also allowing more of that dusting of copper shine show up. These are the standard 5 by 16 millimeter dagger size and the one hole variety. So as expected, off to a great start with another stunning palette that they've pulled together, and I really like in this one how the bright copper kind of pops against the more muted tones of purple and green. And in addition to the color palette that they've pulled together, also the different styles and types of beads here in a mix of multi-hole and one-hole shapes and sizes too, which we could use to make projects directly from our package or combine these items with things they've sent from past months. Like I also say with the single version of this club, I still find that the quantities are generous enough to, in general, make multiple pieces from what we receive, so there's definitely enough to play around with. And now for the second club, the 2-hole beads. We'll take a look at these. Again, we have 8 different containers. This time, this is the double size version, so you're getting twice as many in the quantities for these 8 bead types as you would if you signed up for the single version of the club. And this particular theme is called Color Run. Let's peek at that. Ooh, I'm seeing a lot of bold metallic shades, some bold colors, magenta, blue, purple, some olive green, and some of that perhaps vitriol metallic coating. So we've got a lot to look through here. And like I usually do when my 2-hole beads club overlaps with my rotating club, meaning that I get the double size version of it, I'm going to be coming back and specifically sharing a tutorial based on some of the beads that you'll see in this club. So I hope if you haven't subscribed already, you'll do so. If you'd like to see some of these beads in use in a finished product that I'll also be showing you how to make. So right now I'm going to get organized and we'll take a look at all 8 of these types of beads. Up first, we see the full vitriol Helios Parpuca beads, 13 grams total. So with these, the coating is on both sides. You get that full metallic that reflects different colors. Mainly, I'm seeing some greens and some gold or copper, but you get some hints of other colors showing up too, which is really fun. And in this 2-hole shape, as you can see, they have a hole going up through either side, framing that pointed section at the bottom. In our second container, we have the Crystal AB Kalos Parpuca beads, 13 grams in total. This is a really small shape that is circular. Kind of reminds me of the Minos Parpuca beads, which are in more of a cylinder. Maybe if you cut one of those in half, you get something like this, maybe a little bit wider though overall. And these, you can see that AB coating shows up on one side. The other side is left crystal clear, but you do get a lot of the reflective rainbow of colors that still comes through from the other side of the glass surface. And those two holes running parallel through the side in this very tiny shape. In container number 3, we have 100 pieces of the Crystal Magic Blue Storm Duos. And I'm only putting part of these in my hand for us to look at up close. So we're getting even more than what you see here in that double-sized club. These 2-hole beads have that wavy shape, one hole going up through either side. And in this variety, they have a overall bluish cast, especially to the base, kind of in that blueberry tone. And that coating being really similar to the vitriol, giving off a lot of the green and gold, but a little bit of other color too, like magenta, purple, and all settling in different areas, making them each just a little bit unique. In container 4, we have 14 grams of the metallic rose crescent beads. We have the saturated shade of metallic plum, coating that crescent shape. These have the holes going through the face, so when they're strung on, you get these little slivers of color. And I've got several tutorials that incorporate these beads in particular. Most recent of which is called the Cozy Crescent bracelet and combines these with some fire polish and seed beads, so you can find that further back on my channel or in the tutorial archives. I've got a lot of different tutorials using these different shapes. In container 5, we have the olive green tiles. There's 40 pieces, and these bring in a little bit more of that solid opaque like the crescents did to bring out some of the colors that we see in the variegated vitriol coatings. So the classic 2-hole tile beads in those flat square shapes, these also having the green color throughout the surface of the bead with that satiny shine. Container 6 is holding 14 grams of the metallic suede gold triangle beads. So these are in this triangular sort of pennant-like shape with the 2 holes located on the flat side going through the face of the triangle, and in this combination of olive green and sort of a golden metallic, with the sueded variety looking sort of velvety, especially as you move them slightly underneath the light. For selection 7, we have 25 grams of the Aqua Vitriol Super Duos. Another stunning addition with the vitriol coating showing up on one part of the bead and bringing in those hints of a rainbow in metallics with the additional shine too. That coating over top of the base glass, which is in the bold, deep transparent aqua color. And while in these 2-hole bead clubs, you get all different types of 2-hole beads, not just the ones you see here month in and month out, you do see the Super Duos popping up a lot. They used to have a separate Super Duo Beads of the Month club, but a while ago just started incorporating those into the 2-hole beads club. And these are one of the most popular 2-hole shapes, it seems like, and very versatile too. So you'll see these popping up quite a bit, but there's so many different 2-hole varieties of beads out there. That's another great thing about this club is you get to experiment with all different types, not just the same ones, on a monthly basis. And our 8th and final container is holding the metallic matte violet gem duos. There's 14 grams included. We have a really rich medium purple color coating the entire surface of these little diamond shapes, one hole going through either pointed end, and these giving us another saturated opaque color to incorporate in with those shiny metallic rainbow finished varieties. And that's another delicious color palette by Beads of the Month Club in Color Run. And just like the Hot and Trendy Club, I recommend this if you are really into bead weaving and you know you like working with multi-hole shapes like these. You're also maybe a little bit adventurous, and you like the surprise of getting a coordinated color palette on a regular basis, which is a fun monthly surprise, and that is something different every time, so you get to experiment with different color schemes. And here's everything back together on the bead mat. And while they don't advertise that your monthly selections are going to necessarily coordinate, I find that a lot of times they coordinate quite nicely. And looking at these two together, you can see how there could be a lot of crossover between the two, so that can be fun if you're signed up to more than one of these beading clubs at the same time. Another perk that they offer along with your subscription is that every month they have a unique link that's printed at the bottom of your paper invoice that comes in your package. That brings you to 3 unique downloadable and printable beading patterns that you can save to your computer, build up a library of those over time, and that link is different every month. And often those patterns incorporate some of these more unusual multi-hole shapes. Like I said, I am planning to do a tutorial for something from the Color Run selection of the 2-hole beads, so I hope you'll join me back for that later on this month. I like to mention that while it's not advertised that they ship internationally, if you reach out to them, their customer service is excellent, and they can provide you with a specific quote to your location if you are not based in the US and would still like to get your hands on one of these subscriptions. You can find their email address on their website, which I have linked down below, along with that coupon code OPAL10, and that's where you can find out a lot of other information about signing up. So once again, they've done an excellent job, I think. You can feel free to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of either of these 2 clubs, or if you're a subscriber, perhaps what you received this month or anything else you'd like to say. Be sure to give the video a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button while you're here. And feel free to use the share button down below to share the video with your other beading friends. That's all I have for now. I hope to see you all again real soon though, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. And as always, happy beading!